Now we're moving on to the second half of the 10.5 Day 2 worksheet. I'm on number 5 here, and as you can see, the difference between 1, 2, 3, and 4 versus 5 through 8 is that 5 through 8 are no longer multiple choice. Okay, so I'm going to do number 5, and when I look at number 5, another big difference that comes up is that in the first 4 problems, all of the fractions that you were adding or subtracting were already simplified for the most part. I guess number 1 wasn't. But I need to remember that when I'm adding or subtracting fractions, I first need to simplify or factor and simplify each individual fraction. So my first fraction, 2r over 3, I can't do anything with, so I leave that. But my second fraction has the r plus 4 on top, but I see that 3r, 3 times 3 times r. I see that this one has a greatest common factor of 3r. So it's 3r times, and then I'm left with r plus 3. So I need to make sure that I write it in factored form, because this allows me to find the least common denominator. If you don't factor out that 3r, there's a really good chance you're going to end up with just a common denominator. The problem with that is that then in the end you will not have the most simplified answer, or you will need to factor in the end and cancel things out. Least common denominator allows me to not have to do that. Okay, this will also be a review of what happens with least common denominators when things are repeated. So again, my strategy is I always take the entire first denominator, so in this case a 3, but then I go to the second denominator and I look at it piece by piece. I need to make sure I recognize that 3r and r plus 3 are 3 separate pieces. So I ask myself, for the first piece, the 3, is there already a 3 in the least common denominator? And there is, in fact. That means I don't put it again. Okay? And then I say, is there an r? No, there's not, so I put that there. Is there an r plus 3? No, so I put that in as well. So again, the common mistake would be that you'd have an extra 3 in your least common denominator, so you'd have a 9. But it should just be 3r times r plus 3. Now we use the same strategy, again knowing that our least common denominator has 3 pieces, a 3, an r, and an r plus 3. So I take my first fraction, 2r over 3, which right now has a denominator of 3. So I have to figure out what's missing. It has the 3, it does not have the r or the r plus 3. So I need to multiply the bottom by r and r plus 3, which means I also need to multiply the top by r times r plus 3. Then plus, my second fraction has an r plus 4 over, it has 3r times r plus 3. So this, though, 3r times r plus 3, is the entire LCD, so I don't actually have to do anything to my second fraction. All right, so here we go. Now I can write it as a single fraction with 3r times r plus 3 as the common denominator. I need to simplify the top. 2r times r is 2r squared times r plus 3 plus r plus 4. Now I'm going to distribute. I get 2r cubed plus 6r squared plus r plus 4 all over 3r times r plus 3. And as I look at that, that's in standard form on top, and there's no repeat, so I am done. My final answer is 2r cubed plus 6r squared plus r plus 4 divided by 3r times r plus 3.